And that really is the great lesson of this last election. Candidates, campaigns, political parties, there's no magic combination of them all that gets young people to vote. What gets people to vote, what gets people to be responsible voters throughout their life is by living in a community where civic engagement is a part of their everyday social life. And that's what we're trying to manufacture here. Over the coming months, we are launching pilot programs in Virginia and North Carolina. And we are employing young people, local standouts, in their own communities, where they're from, where they're emotionally invested, but more importantly, where they're recognized as social leaders. We are going to give them the resources they need to connect young people with one another and with the political process at large. By building from the ground up, from the grassroots level, our outreach is going to be substantive and serious. It's going to be sustained, independent of election cycles. It's going to be inclusive of all parties. And most importantly, it is going to target the 49% of 18 to 24-year-olds who are not in college. These are folks who are waiting tables, often in the case of North Carolina, who are working assembly lines, and who have been marginalized for too long. So I thank you all for being here. I won't say anything further, but I will encourage everybody to sign up with us. We're going to be handing out...
And Adrian Talbot. I am delighted to have this opportunity to express my support for Generation Engage's initiative to increase voter turnout and political participation among America's young people. In my view, few things are more important to the nation's future than making sure young people are inspired, informed, and involved in the political process at every level of American democracy. This year, on the weekend of March the 5th, we will commemorate Bloody Sunday and the 40th anniversary of the Selma to Montgomery March for voting rights. Later, we will mark the enactment of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. To African Americans and other people of color who have experienced denial and suppression of the voting rights, of their voting rights, this legislation represents the true beginning of American democracy. Before this legislation was enacted, we were routinely denied our right to vote in many localities. And even today, we have many concerns about voter suppression in our communities. The right to vote is the heart and soul of democracy, and we must ensure that it is protected for all citizens. That's why it's critically important to extend the Voting Rights Act and secure other needed federal, state, and local reforms to protect and expand voter participation. Such as universal same-day voter registration and an end to the disenfranchisement of felons and other individuals who are in some phase of the criminal justice system. But even when all legal protections are in place, we still have an enormous job to do to get all citizens, especially young people, to exercise their voting rights. I certainly share the concern of Generation Engage about the weak voter participation rates among young people in particular. We have simply got to do a better job of inspiring young people to get involved in the political process. The disturbingly low levels of voter participation among young people, we have seen in recent years indicates that American democracy is in trouble. In the 2004 election, it is estimated that only about 42% of the 18 to 24-year-olds voters cast ballots in the November elections, and slightly less for African American youth, far below the national average of 56%. We've got to do better if America is to have a thriving democracy in the 21st century. My husband, Martin Luther King Jr., once said that we must create a climate of scorn for those who shirk their responsibility as voters. He also said that we have to make politics a crusade. That's why he went into pool halls and met with gang members and did everything he could to reach young people where they were, to urge them to go register and vote and to get involved in the political process. It is encouraging that Generation Engage is also committed to reaching young people where they are at the grassroots level. As a critical first step to increasing political participation levels, we must pick up the torch of leadership and start a political prairie fire that burns in the hearts of young people from coast to coast. And while we're at it, let's make the voter registration card a badge of honor, a status symbol of manhood and womanhood. I am so glad that Generation Engage is emphasizing personal contact in this political crusade. I think it is fine that voter participation campaigns are using the high-tech tools of the 21st century, like email, Palm Pilots, and cell phones. But somewhere along the line, there also has to be some eye contact and a handshake. There is just no substitute for personal contact to find out what people are thinking and what is going on in their hearts and souls. One of the most powerful tools we have for increasing political participation is the human ear, and we need to use it. The young people in the 18 to 24 age group this project is targeting share many concerns, such as funding assistance for education, opportunities for job training and career development, and health care coverage for young families. But they also have diverse concerns associated with their racial and ethnic identity. As people with disabilities, their gender, sexual orientation, and all of the other identity factors we find in all age groups. The best way to